Okay, for our last project with 2-point perspective, we're going to be working on a city block. Now, if you look at this picture, you should by now start to recognize the way 2-point perspective works. So, if we were making this into a box, here's that edge that we create first. And then we connect the top and the bottom to vanishing points. You can see that this one, the vanishing point somewhere probably over here. There's the floor. Okay, it goes that way. Roof goes that way. It's right about there. And then this one goes off the paper. And then you have to put your parallel lines to finish off the box. It's the same thing you did in the first project of this, and then the second one as well. Okay, so to start our city block in 2-point perspective, the first thing we got to do is establish 2 vanishing points. You are going to want to put them a little bit down from the middle of each side of the paper. So put a dot there, and then a dot across the street from it over there, and you're good, okay? So I just showed you this picture. If you look at this, this is what we did in 7th grade. All those lines go to one spot, okay? That is the difference between last year and this year. So I figured I'd better tell you about that. Now, to start our project, we're actually going to start with the sidewalk. So what you're going to do is just pick a spot somewhere towards the bottom of the paper. Don't make it all the way down. Let's say maybe 2 inches up like this, in the middle of the bottom of the paper, okay? So now I've got 3 dots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lightly connect those dots together. Like so. And then we are going to draw a little nice straight up and down vertical line like that, and connect the top of that line to both the dots as well. Remember, drawing lightly. This is to create the curb or the edge of the sidewalk. If you make that line too tall, it's not going to look realistic, and you'd never be able to step onto this sidewalk. It'll be too tall. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler, and I'm going to put it like so. It's about 1 inch right there. That will help. And I'm going to connect this curb to that dot. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And there you can see that that's our sidewalk space, okay? Now, to start our city, you are going to take your ruler and you're going to make your first edge of your first building. This is the street corner right here. You're going to take your ruler, make sure it's nice and straight up and down. You can kind of use the top of the paper and the top of the ruler as a guide. And you're going to make a line. It's maybe like 5 inches long, give or take, maybe 4. Okay, you can see it there. Okay, and then you are going to very, very lightly connect that line to the left vanishing point, and then to the right vanishing point, like that. And then to finish off your building, because right now it's the world's longest building, you are going to slide your ruler over a little ways, keeping it straight up and down, just like that line. Connect the roof to the sidewalk. Do the same on the other side. You have your first building. You can erase what you no longer need. which should be easy because I've been telling you to train your hand to draw super light. And now that line is gone. And we have our first building. Our next building can either be shorter or taller than the first one. Okay, and I'm going to work on the right side of the paper first. Okay, so let's say I want to make my building taller. I take my ruler, I put it on the end of my first building like this, and I just make the line a little longer. Like that. And then I use my vanishing points for the top of that line. Remember, we are connecting to both. Okay, so right now the building goes on forever and ever and ever. We have to end it someplace. So the first thing we're going to do is line up our ruler with our first line we extended right here. I'm going to slide it over, keeping it parallel, and make our next building end maybe an inch or two further down that block. Then you're going to go over to this side, and you're going to line up your ruler on this side, move it over, keeping it parallel with that line, and connect the roof to where it disappears behind the other building. And voila, you have your first two buildings. Erase what you don't need. Now, for our next building, I want to show you how to make one that is a little bit shorter. It's actually very, very easy. Okay, you're going to take your ruler, line it up with the building you just finished, slide it over. I'm sorry, scratch that. Take your ruler, line it up with the building you just finished, and pick a spot somewhere along that line. Maybe I want it to be down here. I'm just going to make a little dot there, and then take my ruler, connect that dot to the right vanishing point. You can very faintly see my line, and then line up your ruler again, slide it over. Maybe I want this building to be a little bit wider than the others. And there you have it. And you can go ahead and make your roof line darker if you want. Like that. That's up to you. Okay? Erase what you don't need. I'm going to darken up a couple of these lines so you guys can see it better. And there you go. So my first three buildings of this city are finished. Next step, make maybe a taller building again. So you just extend the line like we did before. I'm going to make a real tall one this time. Okay? Connect to both dots. Now we are starting to get closer and closer to these dots. And the buildings are going to start to look a little strange. Very, very, very steep roofs like that. And that is called foreshortening. As things go away from us, they tend to get skinnier, okay, and smaller. So I'm going to slide my ruler over like I've been doing and finish off this building. And then I'm going to slide it over on this line. Finish this one off. And erase what I don't need. Hopefully you're starting to get the pattern. Once you get the hang of this, it's super easy. So now I'll make a shorter building. I'll line up my ruler, pick a spot somewhere along the edge of this building, and connect it to the vanishing point super light. And then line up my ruler, slide it over, finish off my building like so, and erase. Then our next step would obviously be to make a taller building again. So all you would do is follow the same steps you did with this one and this one. Extend the line and then connect to the vanishing points, and then make an up and down parallel line for the side of the building, and it is complete. You can erase what you don't need. For now, let's get started with these 5 types of buildings, and hopefully if you get the idea, you can continue on this side until they completely disappear at that dot.